Hey there, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Smashing Crossbar Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Ferreira, and with me today I have a few special guests. Say hello, Ben from Corner Flag Games.
Hey guys, how are we all doing?
Very good, mate, very good. We also have Dan from Garfield V2.
Hello.
How you going, mate? How you going? And one of the very special guests we have on the show today, we have a very important British import, David Loudfoot. How you going, mate?
Evening, lads.
Very good to have you here, mate. Another Brit, even it up there for you, Dan. You happy?
I like how how we're British now. We're not just English. Is that right?
Yeah.
You're British.
British now, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
He's doing that just for Laurie McKenna because he's Scottish.
These are all equal.
How long did it take me? 7 seconds.
7
Already having a
seconds.
crack.
7 seconds.
Anyway.
Already having a crack.
Anyway, thanks invitation.
Everyone get used to it. It's going to happen for probably a good hour. So on today's show, we will just be speaking, obviously, a little bit about the youth squad that have just been touring over in China. The Jets, obviously, setting off to Spain and the little pre-season tournament they've had over there. And obviously a few topics on the Jets and a little bit of Q&A with, obviously, David with his long history with the Jets. We'll just leave it at that for now. Rightio, guys. So, obviously, as most of you know, we went off to Asia with the youth squad. Played a few games over there in the Weifang Cup, and wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad of a tournament. We got off to a good start. Obviously, with Shanghai SIP, beating them 4-3 with a few goals to Tapaldo, Goodhue, Harrison, and Smith. Game 2, we unfortunately went down to Atletico Boca Juniors. Pretty tough ask, considering the strength of obviously their first side. So went down there 2-1. Only goal coming to Mr. Harrison in the 66th minute. Game 3 was against Shandong Lunage, which was a heavy loss, 5-2 loss, unfortunately. I didn't get too much info on that one, so obviously Jets Twitter must have been down at that point. So they I
didn't even know they had accessibility to Twitter and Facebook in China. So fair play for them getting the communication out as well as they did.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Well, yeah, exactly right. I thought that was I didn't think you could at all. I thought they were pretty much a no-go zone. So yeah, and obviously the boys rounded out the last two games. Obviously, game 4 was against the Chinese under-19 side. Pretty good effort, to be fair, and went down 2-1. Again, Harrison was the only goal scorer there for the Jets with a late penalty in the 81st minute. And the final game they wrapped up was against Santos Laguna, which I believe, Ben, you were saying, what were they, Brazilian? Was that your thoughts on that one?
Yeah.
Yeah? That's what he's taking a stab.
Memory, yes. I'm trying to find it again.
He's taking stabs. So unfortunately those guys went down 4-1, heavy loss again to the Jets. So look, that was pretty much that, and that was obviously the end of the cup. So we done pretty well, to be fair.
My mistake, they're Mexican.
Mexican, oof.
Careful.
Yeah, Jesus. Don't want to get in trouble. But yeah, obviously, pretty good tournament for the youth side. I've watched a few of their games down here in the local MPL, and for a side who obviously can't, they can't compete in the final series of the local MPL here, which I think is a bit of a joke. What's the point of having them in the competition if you can't play in the final series anyway? But yeah, Dave, what do you reckon, mate? What are your thoughts? Obviously,
I think it's definitely interesting that they took them out of the regular season in Newcastle.
Yep.
To go play over there. Understandable, given the fact that for some reason the Northern New South Wales Federation basically don't want them to play in the competitive final side of things, which again doesn't make any sense. But it's good that they get to play in, week out in the off season, because I think with any decent football club or any decent structure of a football club, they need strong youth systems.
Yep.
So I mean, going over there, playing against, realistically these teams that have a massive amount of investment on top of, infrastructure within the clubs, way below the say under 20s and whatnot. I think it's a really good result. I think it's good the fact that the club has publicised it, showing that they are taking strides now, well beyond what we've ever seen in the previous years. So, I mean, it's part of, and I think, we had a bit of a joke about Laurie McKinnon before because it's all about the bants, but at the same time, he's all about building for the future, and getting the opportunity for the youngsters locally, as well as the lads that they bring in throughout, regional New South Wales and other places in Australia to come play. So I think comparatively, the results are probably fair to the actual quality of football they're putting out. But again, it's part of the journey. So it's good that these young gentlemen are getting out there and playing against these quality youth sides.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, too easy, Dave. Thanks for that, mate. Ben, quick thoughts, obviously, on the tournament itself.
Look, it's not the first time the boys have been across to China to play in the Weifang Cup, but if it's going to be a thing that we start to do regularly, then I think it's a good idea. And I think Dave summed it up really well that, our under-19s are facing off against, teams that have got well bigger infrastructure into their youth all the way down to a lot of younger levels. And it's good for them to get a regular hit out against, some talented opposition, not only talented opposition, but varying play styles with teams from numerous countries.
Yeah, 100%. Look, as I said, I don't know if any of the other clubs do those sort of tournaments. Obviously, with their youth system, or maybe City, but I don't think I've really heard of anyone else, any other club do it.
No, I don't think they do. I think it's when you look at the other clubs and you look at what they're putting forward, it's certainly, from what I understand, one of the once-offs in terms of the way that they're going forward with it.
Yeah.
Within the club, so it can only be a good thing.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, those guys will it's Sunday. We're recording this on the Sunday, so I dare say the guys have probably arrived back into Newcastle and be preparing themselves for obviously their NPL game on Tuesday, which will be a very short turnaround for them.
Or going to King Street, one of the two.
You're probably right. Sunday sesh, King Street. Yeah, I would be too. Quick sleep and then straight off to it.
Why sleep? You're young footballers. Why sleep?
Yeah, that's exactly right. 100%. So, we'll move into the senior side. Obviously, boys jetted off to Spain last week for a week-long tournament with a few sides. There was a change of fixtures pretty much once they got over there. So, not 100% sure exactly why some of the teams have had to pull out of that, but the guys ended up stringing a few sides together to play, which were along the lines of Katagana, Shabab Al Ali, and Al Faya. A couple of Middle Eastern sides there. And
I was going to say your Arabic pronunciations are on point.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Yeah.
I practiced for the last 3 hours.
I can imagine.
So yes, obviously we kicked off the round. Wasn't even a tournament, just a couple of pre-season friendlies with a game against Shabab Al Ali. And the guys, from what I could, obviously the guys were virtually giving us live updates over Twitter for the game. So obviously there was no obviously way of watching it over there. So yeah, according to what the guys said on the Twitter feed, there was obviously plenty of chances early and so forth, and a few of the guys obviously impressed in the first game. There was another goal there by Hoffy, I believe Ben's fiance's favourite player. Is that correct, Ben?
Yep, that is correct.
Loves
until he opens his mouth.
His teeth aren't the best, but she loves a bit of the Hoff.
It's not his teeth, mate. It's the helium voice that does it for her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. I'm just going to sit back.
He's just going to sit back. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So, the guys done pretty well there. So pretty much, obviously, you got the goal, and what have we got there? Obviously, half time they changed it up a fair bit, put a few players on. So obviously, Costa Petratos got a run, Angus Thurgate, Joe Champness, Pat Langlios, and Ivan Vajica. I always get his name friggin' absolutely.
Vajutsa.
Do you want me, Ivan Vujica?
Thank you, mate. Thank you. I'm over the Arab.
There you go.
Arabic, but I'm not so good on anything else.
Not so good at Eastern Europeans, right?
Um,
Half of our team has literally got like Eastern European surnames, so this is going to be grand. Carry on.
Yeah, so we ended up getting the late winner with, I believe it was Costa Petratos. Ended up getting a sloppy goal there at the very end to save the point. So, so obviously the guys ended up eventually getting out of jail there with the final score being 3-2. Probably the only downside and drama we had from the game would be Boogs coming down there. Apparently he got a stray elbow or something like that to the head, and wasn't too fantastic. Pretty much went off pretty early after about 25 minutes with a concussion rule, and must have been pretty bad because he's obviously ruled himself out of the FFA Cup match on Tuesday already.
Yeah, I was just reading that.
Yeah. So the guys obviously off a victory there to open them up there in Spain. They moved on to Al Faya, which I believe was a pretty heated game. The boys took the pitch and obviously came out. Al Faya came out pretty strong. Scored a goal within the first 6 minutes, which obviously set the tempo obviously on the back foot straight away. And that's pretty much how it ended, obviously, the first half. Obviously 1-0. Boys again started well with Jajewski doing very well in the back line. Again, personally, big raps on Jajewski. I reckon he's probably one of the best defenders we've signed, I think, in a long time. And obviously, other than that, the guys ended up getting another one late on. And I think it was Lockie Jackson scored that one. A nice header from Vargas, who played in the last 20 minutes. And the guys ended up winning that one 2-1. Quick one, obviously, on Vargas. What's your thoughts on that, Dave? What's your thoughts on him?
On him, quality player for the league.
Yep.
He's miles ahead of a lot of other players that we've had for years. So I think it's for our side of things. In the terms of the league, when you look at what people are bringing in, I think we've done the best that we can with the money that we've had. And I think Ernie Merrick has made some stellar decisions along with Joel Griffiths and with the guidance as well as with Laurie McKenna bringing someone like that in. Mm-hmm. He's an X factor. He's not, as we've seen, afraid to put his body on line to his own detriment. Obviously against Brisbane, and it was round 3 last year. He got caught. Was out for a long number of rounds. But look, quality player. If he's got a proper full pre-season under his belt and gets himself completely fit, completely raring to go, he's definitely got the minerals, in my opinion.
Yeah. Dan, mate, your thought on Vargas?
Yeah, he's a really good singer.
I'll take your word for it. Never heard him open his vocals before, but I'll take your word for it. I was talking about Vargas, not David, mate. I've heard David sing. He can thrash bloody bit of Robbie Williams. Don't worry about that.
I do love a bit of karaoke.
So, Ben, obviously we've heard your thoughts on him before, but yeah, just a quick summary, mate. You reckon he's gonna? Well, obviously, as long as he don't get injured, do you reckon he's gonna be a good prospect this year?
He is. He's that sort of person you need in the middle of the park to pull the strings and fire the wide men up down that line when things are starting to get shut out in the defensive midfield and up the wings, further back from the fullbacks. So yeah, he can put a ball through and hit feet He's got the vision.
Yeah.
And if you watch the Central Coast match from the first round, right? I thought, like every other Newcastle United Jets supporter, when we went away and won 5-1 in a local derby, what he did in that match was actually insane. It was actually almost effortless, but the way that he just ran their midfield around by barely even moving was insane. It was just a shame that he got injured when he did. I think we would have honestly finished a lot higher even than we did, which would have been minor premiership, would have been top of the league.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Agreed.
Obviously, they're just bringing him in nice and easily at the moment. I think he only played, I'd say, probably about 45 minutes out of the 3 games. So just taking it nice and easy, sort of wrapping him up in cotton wool. Who knows, he might start on Tuesday night for the guys. The third and final game, obviously.
He's had his pin out now.
Pardon, sorry?
He's had his pin out now. He met the boys in Spain. He flew over from Belgium. He'd spent time there with his physiotherapist.
Yeah. So, look, hopefully he can get on his feet and hopefully no injuries and, hopefully scores us some goals and friggin' sets a few and lead us on to a friggin' another grand final. Hopefully a victory this time. Third and final game was against Cartagena, and the guys ended up, well, they struggled there at first, going down early 2-0. The boys did fight back in the second half, though, to eventually still go down 3-2. But with an interview with Ernie Merrick after the game, he was saying that the guys, they obviously they put in the last, say, 20, 30 minutes and obviously got 2 back. With even a goal to O'Donovan, obviously, suffered sitting on a 10-match suspension over here and obviously not being able to play possibly a good 10 weeks. Because I'm not too sure. Obviously, the FFA Cup rounds, I'd imagine, would count. So, yes, obviously, you might be able to shave a couple off there, but still, you'd imagine at least 8 or so. He scored a goal that originally was called offside, and then in a friendly in front of 3,000 people, VAR overruled and gave him the goal.
Yeah, why not? They paid the money to be there.
Yeah, by all means. Like, it was just, obviously reading it on the Twitter feed, obviously, VAR has overruled the decision and awarded the goal. It's just like, it's a pre-season friendly. It's 3,000 people there, really? They've gone to VAR in a friendly.
Laurie McKenna didn't go up to the VAR box, did he, and just start playing with it because of what happened in the grand final and say, no, that's definitely a goal. That one, definitely a goal.
Well, we'll have to get the word from him personally. But look, it wouldn't surprise me. It's typical.
I think I saw something on his Twitter that was something along the lines of the VAR went our way for once.
Yeah. It's amazing in Spain in front of 3,000 people how the VAR can work, but cataclysmically can't work at the highest match in Australian football. It apparently goes down 1 minute before, it comes back a minute after the goal. Come on.
Yeah. Look, as I said, he started off with pretty much a very, very youth side in the first half. Obviously, going down 2 goals early. Even the they brought in the rookie keeper, James, from the Weifang Cup, obviously with Duncan departing. So obviously, even him getting a start, obviously would have been very, very well for his confidence and so forth.
Yeah.
Which is good. Even Thurgate, they were wrapping him up massively in the on the Twitter feed, friggin' saying that he was everywhere, he was all over the park and that. So look, I think personally watching him for a little bit last season, hopefully he'll get his chance and because he looks
he's definitely one for the future. I mean, I'm not a terribly big lad myself, but you think when you're playing professional football, if he puts a couple of kilograms on, learns to throw his weight in the right places, while still keeping his pace, he's very much what he reminds me of is probably what a Jamie Vardy would be at his age years and years ago, playing lower leagues. He's got pace to burn. He's just got to learn where to throw his body in the right places to get behind them defenders with that pace.
Yep.
And obviously, look, the kid can finish. He just needs that composure, and I'm sure he do phenomenal. going forward. Definite one for the future, without a doubt.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree. So yeah, obviously on that note, we'd say, I'll definitely say, probably a good decision going to Spain. I've heard some people obviously say, obviously, was there any need to go to Spain? Did we have to travel that far? Could we just gone to Asia or?
Well, you know what it's all about. Do you know what it's actually all about? This is my take on this, and this is probably something that I definitely know that Laurie McKenna would second. Right? Is you look at what all the other clubs are doing. You look at when you put, say, your Sydney FCs and whatnot who are staying in Sydney practically doing all of their preparation work. Think about the big picture and the professionalism that you're showing these up-and-coming players, the professionalism that you're showing prospective players about how we operate as a club. To take your team away from Australia, throw them all the way into Europe, it's not about the results, it's fundamentally about the experience, the professionalism, showing them we're going to go over there, we're going to go play against these teams, we're going to give it a crack against teams, again, much like the UEFA Cup, where they're going to be better at this point in the season. It's about selling the club to the wider audience in terms of player recruitment as well.
Yeah.
So you can have a Sydney FC that will go and buy diamonds from Michael Hill Jeweller. They can see what's on there. They've got the money. They can buy it. What we're realistically doing, what my perception of what we're doing is we're the guys out there in the mines mining the dodgy rocks, trying to find the diamond in the rough. That's the way that it is.
Yeah.
And you're making that you're trying to make that seem more viable for the people coming in to mine it and help and work before you can get those diamonds out of where it is, right? It might sound like a strange analogy, but it's exactly what it is. It's the same with Melbourne Victory. They can get anyone they want. They've got the back and they can do it. But taking these players, chucking them over there, massive positive, because it shows a professionalism just like you'd have with a European team. And a professional team, whether it's a championship team, whether it's a Premier League team. They take their teams in Christmas break away from England, go to places like Spain. So it's definitely the way forward, and that's not cheap. So there's investment from the owner. There's investment from the staff. There's investment in terms of time anyway. There's investment of the players going up and learning.
Yeah, look, as I said, obviously, it's very hard, obviously, for Dan, obviously, sitting there just sort of nodding his head in agreement. And hasn't got much sort of help here, obviously, on the Jets. But I'll throw it back to you, mate. Obviously, the same thing in England, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, massive Derby fan and so forth. Like, do you think, obviously, Derby or any English club travelling overseas, obviously, to another country in Europe to play friendlies, like, do you think they could get the same effect?
It's a benefit, yeah.
Yeah, effect or benefit playing in England, or do you feel going over to Spain or wherever it's beneficial?
Look, it's like anything. It's like your day-to-day work. It's team building, isn't it? You go away, and that's all they've got to focus on. They've not got any distractions of home life or anything. If you're over in Spain, you're over in Portugal, wherever you are, that's what you're there for. You train in the heat, so you get sort of acclimatized to. I've always thought it's a good idea. Derby haven't done it for a couple of seasons. Well, a few seasons. We tend to just stick to quite local teams, but each to their own. I think it's just a good building process. It builds bridges between players when you're making new transfers and players leaving, players coming in, youth players that have never trained with the first team before. It gives them a good a horizon, broaden of the horizons so that they get a feel for it. All in all, I think it's good, but as Dave said, it does get expensive, but it's easier over with the English teams because there's more money in the football over here.
Yeah. Well, even I suppose you look at it, even obviously, as Dave would know, obviously Newcastle, obviously they've travelled out to New Zealand, so obviously not a massive financial club like say your top four and so forth, but obviously still done it.
Yeah.
So obviously, do you think that would have helped travelling all the way over here to New Zealand, or?
I mean, not for that circumstance. I mean, I think that was a little bit different in that respect. But I mean, I wouldn't use me personally. Wouldn't use that as an example. I would use mid-season. I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier in my last statement. But during our last campaign in the Premier League, obviously, it was a major, major thing for us to stay up. And where we were just prior to Christmas to where we were in February, what Rafa Benitez actually did is he took the players out and actually took them abroad during the Christmas break. Yep. He didn't give them a day off, as would say. So definitely echoing what Dan's saying. It's taking players away from what can be a very hostile city, removing them, letting them have that time away to continue training, continue doing what they're doing, at home, but away from that whole circumstance. So it probably, who knows, Rafa's done wonders with our first team, and the under-23s and the under-19s and whatnot. But it's always valuable. As Dan said, the biggest thing was it was team building. It's having that time away. Corporate companies do it. Premier League clubs and football clubs are just corporate companies at the end of the day. And they're just getting those boys away. So it's definitely, if it's done the right way, it's definitely positive. I don't like this whole international cup they're doing in America. I think it's slightly ludicrous and it's a little bit daft, because it just does nothing for the actual clubs that are playing there. It's just
it's purely monetary, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. I mean, look, you if you got Derby versus Newcastle out in Michigan or something, you'd probably get 7,000 people there, all expats. But you get your Man United, Real Madrid. Suddenly, every NFL support has a diehard United fan. It's just standard, really. But it's not a beneficial thing. Whereas I think when you look at the clubs that aren't as blessed financially and whatnot, like teams in Australia, taking players out of that situation, or in this case, pre-season, I think it's a little bit different with the pre-season side of things here. It's definitely showing the professionalism going forward for the clubs. Definite benefit. But it's the Newcastle tour to New Zealand. I didn't go to New Zealand for it because Newcastle were bringing predominantly a second string team. It's going to cost me $800 return. I can fly back to England for $1,500 return and watch them in the Premier League. It wasn't a case of anything other than just being away. I didn't understand. It just shows the direction of the club in that year, and we got relegated the season after. So said.
Yep, not too easy. We'll move back a little bit towards the Jets. Obviously, a few of the guys. Obviously, we've got a couple of guys who have left the club. Obviously, one Jack Duncan and Wayne Brown. Obviously, talk a little bit about Jack. Obviously, personally, I had my doubts. He was very, for me, hot and cold. I didn't personally see him as the number one. I think Moss still, for me, should have been number one. But obviously, he's moved on out to Al Quadzai there in Saudi Arabia. Linked up with Reece Williams, I believe, he's moved out there as well. So, your thoughts on that? We'll go to Ben. Thoughts on that one, mate? Obviously, Jack Duncan.
Yeah, look, for somebody who was playing abroad before he did come to the Jets out there in Denmark with the Rangers, obviously not getting very much game time there, we threw him a lifeline and said, "Hey, come here, we'll give you a bit." And he's been under a few different goalkeeper trainers here at the Jets. Early on, it was Jess Van Straten before he left, and he's grown in confidence and his capability. From what I think, leaps and bounds, and for him, not a move that I think a lot of the Jets fans were expecting.
Yeah,
I think there are other players that they would have pegged to have left beforehand. But yeah, kudos to him and for getting himself out there in the shop window and that campaign out there in Spain. Just to echo a quick point on that, I think that's sort of putting the players in the shop window to the European and other Asian markets, and also helping them acclimatise for the difficult climates if we do get through the qualification for the Asian Champions League.
Yeah. Obviously, as well. Obviously, you'd imagine if going to tournaments like that, As much as obviously clubs don't like seeing players go, but if they're going to make money off players, going to tournaments like that, it's obviously got to help them trigger release clauses, which obviously, not saying the Spanish, he only played the first game, but obviously Jack Duncan was still on contract and they had to release pay out the release clause, which I believe was in the figure of 350,000, which in Australia doesn't seem like much, but considering we're under salary cap here, it's quite decent. But yeah, no, as you said,
And the Jets have always been a team that have come out and categorically stated if a player wants to move to further their own career, we're not going to stop them.
Yeah,
100%. And then why you shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? As I said, you don't like seeing people go. It's no different than a boot. No one wanted him to go. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Ernie Merrick and Laurie would be the first to put their hands up, saying, there's no way we wanted to see him go. We wanted to at least see him stick out the season. But hey,
yeah,
you got
100%.
to take your chances when you can.
You can't begrudge him. I mean, at the end of the day, look, personally, at the end of the day, personally, I think as a player, I think he grew a lot within probably an 18-month period.
Yep.
I was quite happy with him in goal towards the end of the season. At first, I was just worried every time the ball went near him. He seemed like butterfingers. That's obviously the nerves or something that was going on outside of football or something. It was very strange to watch someone be given the number one. But I feel like the mentorship that was given to him by Glenn Moss helped him. He's right now he's earned his chance again to go abroad. His football career is probably more prolonged being a keeper.
Yeah.
But you can't begrudge anybody for reaching out, trying to do these things and going abroad and leaving the Jets for that.
Yeah. Look, as I said, obviously good luck to him, and hopefully, in a good way, hopefully he doesn't come back. You know what I mean? Hopefully, obviously, because I'd hate him to come back and go to another club. But yeah,
they always do though. They always do.
They always do. They always do. Yeah, shits me up the wall.
Yeah, they do.
But yeah, look, as I said, good on him, and hopefully he succeeds and does well over there, and hopefully his future's bright. But yeah, we'll move on from Duncan and go to Wayne Brown. Shipped off back to England to play for Sutton United.
See you later.
I know Dave's thoughts on Wayne Brown. Personally, when he first came out, I thought he was all right. He was in the situation that we were in. Obviously, not as big as we were when he came in, and succeeding like we are now was good. But obviously, you could definitely tell once
Ronnie Vargas came. Yeah. You knew the difference, right?
Oh.
So he was predominantly playing a defensive, basically defensive collage of what Ronnie Vargas does, and for a player that, look, I've got nothing against the bloke person. I'm sure he's a top lad, but for somebody that's a professional footballer playing on TV, getting paid not bad wages, losing the ball, I think in one match it was like 17 times he lost possession in midfield. That's just and that's one match. Yeah. In my opinion, and I'm not trying to get over emotional, because when I'm watching the matches, I certainly do. It was just you don't want that when you're looking at what the club's trying to build.
Yeah.
Good luck to him. He's another Englishman. All Englishmen that come to our club to do well. Yeah. It just was. It was a means to an end when we bought him. Yeah. And at the end of the day, he more than happily frees up another squad place. In my opinion, it's a little bit harsh, but if I was underperforming as much as he was at my job, I would have been let go a year ago.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. I think personally, though, obviously everyone who doesn't know, obviously Sutton United, they're pretty much in the 5th tier of English football. So I think it's a little bit of a kick in the face. I thought he might have been able to do League 2, 3.
I think he's got the characteristics though in himself. He'll build from that. I think he won't end up there. He'll definitely get. He's a hard-nosed midfielder. He'll get a bit further up than that. I don't think he'll end up there. For his wife and his baby and all that character. Hard on the football pitch. I don't know how he hasn't broken somebody's leg before.
Oh,
so
yeah, he doesn't want to tackle, but yeah, obviously your thoughts.
No, he doesn't.
Brown,
I saw Wayne Brown as a sort of, he did the job that he was required to do when we initially needed him.
Yeah.
But when the club's finances changed and we started looking about and what we were starting to build again, I just think that he just didn't fit what we're looking for at that point. It was the change of tact of, right, these international spots are now crucial to us. We need to start looking at really utilising these.
Yeah, obviously. And again, it goes without saying, obviously, good luck to him. Again, hopefully he succeeds and obviously gets a little bit further up the league.
I'm sure he will, and I hope sincerely that he does, because he did do a good job for us. It's just when the club goes from coming last in the league, which is when he was a pinhold in the team, to finishing second and making the final. It's a very different looking need for an individual, and unfortunately, in my eye, speaking for myself, obviously, but just well out of place for the last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Actually, obviously Sutton, where's that between you and Dan, Dave? Where's that in England? Do you know? Top of your head? No.
I think Sutton United were the ones that played against. No, I might be wrong. Did they play against Arsenal in the FA Cup?
United. I'm not too sure. I'll go with you. I've got no idea. That's why I asked the question, because I'm not exactly 100% sure where in England they are based. But
I think
just outside Croydon.
Yeah, sorted. There we are.
There you go.
Were they the ones that played against Arsenal in the FA Cup at home, and the keeper got done for gambling because he was eating a meat pie or something?
I remember that.
I think it was.
I remember the bloke. Yeah, I don't know if it was Son. Yeah, Dan, you reckon? Yep.
I might sound daft, but I'm sure it was. Yeah, I might sound daft, but I'm sure
it was.
There you go. No, there you go. Hopefully you can do better.
Where's me pub trivia?
Here's me pub trivia all over it, mate. All over it. Yeah, obviously, you got anything, Dan, mate, on anything we've sort of topic? I know it's hard, obviously, not really knowing the Australian game and that, but anything?
Look, I am not a very clued up at all person on Australian football. It doesn't mean I don't like it. It's just, as we've spoke separately outside of all these sort of social gatherings, like, we're spoilt over here. I'm sure Dave would agree with me. Over here, we're spoilt for football. Yeah. We don't. There's not the need to watch anything else, because there's always something on once the domestic season starts. But to hear, it's always nice. Now I know you guys. It's always nice to hear about the players that have gone over to Australia or have come over from Australia. So it's just a player that I'll be looking out for, and I can start betting on Sutton United. I don't condone betting. You shouldn't do it. But I should have start betting on Sutton United on my Ackers, and if they don't come in, I can just blame Wayne Brown.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't waste your money on Wayne Brown, mate. But anyway.
Yeah, don't put him on for scoring goals. Whatever you do.
Sorry, Wayne.
Yes, sorry, mate. So obviously, we've got two guys there that have left the club, which again, Dave said, it frees, not only does it free up a spot, it frees up an international spot, which is obviously going to be massive for obviously, the Australian game over here. Dan, obviously, you may or may not know, so obviously we only get a certain amount of international marquee spots there. So, look, hopefully they weren't just playing games over in Spain. Hopefully friggin' Griffiths and so forth were scouting and doing other shit over there. Maybe trying to find us a striker or something like that to bring in.
I saw somewhere they were looking for a South American or some sort.
Mm.
So, who knows?
Well, if you've got a space open for an Englishman, take Chris Martin off Derby. You'll love him.
I'm sure David can rattle off a few blokes as well.
No, you can take Mike Ashley.
Mike Ashley. Yeah, we're going to get into that a little bit in a little bit, but yeah. So obviously we'll start wrapping up a little bit. Obviously on the Jets side of things. So obviously the guys that again who have left the club. Good luck to them. Again, hopefully they do well and so forth. Jets memberships are obviously out now for obviously renewal for obviously the previous members. Got yours yet, Loudy?
They sure are.
Yeah, I think it's my 15th year or something, isn't it?
Something
Yeah,
like
something like that. Yeah, they just take it out your credit. They just take it up your credit card.
Mine and the missus come on Friday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, friggin' yeah, no, obviously, I think we've all, speak for ourselves now. We've all sorted and ready and gearing to go for the new season. So,
I think it's a little naughty. I'll look at a card statement and then I'll get something in the mail and I'm like, oh yeah, Jets memberships, and then I look at my internet banking, and then I'm like, hold on, there's like $180 has gone out. Oh well, I guess I'm a member again this year, right?
yeah, I'm glad I got a say in it.
I guess I got a season ticket.
Mine does the exact same thing.
Thanks, Laurie.
Mine does the exact same thing, but I miss it. But I miss it. Mine's like $9 a month or something.
Wait, I will be fair though. If we don't get a minimum 10,000 season ticket holders this year, after the debacle of everybody having the biggest whinge about the grand final, about the final tickets.
Oh yeah.
I had zero sympathy for absolutely everybody, and I'll say this on the record, on YouTube, to everybody: don't whinge if you don't have a season ticket that you couldn't get tickets to the final. It's super simple. Pay your $180, pay your $115. It's super cheap compared to England.
Yeah.
You'll get your ticket if you make the final.
100%.
Yeah, not even that, David. Like me and Sarah have got supporter memberships, obviously, because we live interstate, so we pay $9 a month each, and even we get priority for grand final tickets. We had no issues.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's just it's a fundamental. I think I'm in Australia. I've been here for years, and I still pay every year £50 for a Newcastle United membership. So if I go home or want to go home, I can get tickets. When I go back in October, I'm going to get tickets to Brighton at home. I mean, it might sound daft, but Newcastle sells out because we're a massive club, obviously.
100%.
But wait for Dan to chirp in there. But because Derby's huge. But so it's just part and parcel, and you'll get that at Derby. You'll get that at loads of places. People pay their money. Why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, and that's it. And there's I think, most members, can take out of last season, I don't think one member felt sorry for anyone who did not get a ticket.
I felt sorry. I bought the maximum amount of tickets, right?
Yeah.
I think there was a Facebook video of a bloke and his kid who I donated 2 tickets to because I couldn't get one because his kid's sick, right?
Yeah.
And there's a Facebook video because I sorted it out for his kid.
Yeah.
Everything that I got, I gave to lads that I know who are Jet supporters that didn't have season tickets at cost price. What gets me was the blokes that were selling it, or the ladies that as well, who was selling it for way more. I sold it for what it was, and then I gave 2 away because that's just, I mean, I'm an idiot, but that's just the person I am, right? But it's...
I scouted here in Melbourne. I went on Gumtree and eBay and things like that, and some of the ticket resale sites. Some of the Melbourne Victory away tickets that were going down here was something like $350.
Yeah, so that's like nothing. That's nothing if you get an FA Cup ticket. Like FA Cup tickets will cost more than that.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So if it's your team, you'll pay it at the end of the day, and you should just probably have a season ticket anyway, or some sort of membership to the club. Fact.
And 100%, that's exactly right. I mean, it's it's not like they were succeeding in the last 5 games of the season. You know what I mean? Like, it's the best season by far in, well, as I said, 10 years to the year, since we won the last flag. So, our first and only flag. Just get on the bandwagon, guys. As Ben said, $9 a month minimum. I mean, that's it. If you're not even going to go to the games, just friggin' pay something to the club to friggin' show your support locally, whatever.
I think, and if Laurie's listening, I think the monthly cost of the cheapest ticket as an adult is about $17 a month or something like that.
Yep.
So, if you've got any smokers out there, which I am, you can buy a pack of smokes. You can pay your membership per month.
That's it. That's exactly right. And obviously, and that's it. Yeah, I think you're about right. $17.50 or something like that. Friggin' pay one, jump in, get in with the boys, the NCL boys, and
doesn't even need to be there. It can be anywhere.
Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. Yeah. But obviously, that's it. But still, jump in wherever you can. As I said, just find a blade of grass. There's plenty of it. Not as much as there used to be, but there's still plenty of it. And remember the days when you used to be able to walk around the freaking stadium. But anyway,
Not now with security, mate.
no, you can't do anything now, mate. But yeah, look, obviously, by all means, as I say, get your memberships, freaking get in. It's going to be a bumper season. Hopefully, we can go one better this year. But yeah, I do have a question for you though, Dave. Because obviously we've all had our say on it. Even Dan's had a say on it. Usain Bolt to the Central Coast Mariners. I'd love to take your thought on that.
Oh yeah.
I literally have no comment. I think it's just the most rambunctious, strangest publicity stunt. I don't know whether Usain Bolt is off his rocker or the club are paying him because they play in yellow and he's Jamaican or something. Like I don't quite understand. I saw he did a charity match in England as well. I don't know what it was. Dan might be able to fill you in. I saw a really short highlight clip of him playing some charity match, and I could quite confidently say my 89-year-old granny has a better touch than him. It's like he's got absolutely nothing. It's a joke. It's given. I don't even know how that links up. I don't know how Usain Bolt gets linked to the Central Coast Mariners. I just don't understand that, and I'm quite good at putting dots together, so I don't understand how that happened. But it's given some sort of strange, obscure highlight to the league, albeit definitely not professional. Definitely the way the A League is going, FFA wise, it's a joke. But yeah, no comment. What a joke.
Fair enough. That's pretty much how I thought it was going to go.
Just 2 words. Move on.
Move on. Well, obviously, as I said, we're just as obviously some of your viewers may or may not know, Dave's been obviously with us since the beginning. Obviously, from the Jets, came out here when he was a bit younger. We'll get into that in a little bit, but we've you and I have seen plenty of interesting things at obviously games and been ups and downs and more downs than ups, unfortunately.
It's all right. We still won the league. Newcastle United's won out.
100. Yeah, exactly right. What about the FFA Cup? Obviously we've got it pretty easy on Tuesday night. Some would say. I'm not going to say nothing like that because we haven't won a game in the FFA Cup yet. But hopefully it's our year to get through one at least. What do you personally? What are your thoughts on the FFA Cup as a whole? Do you think
coming from England, the FA Cup is phenomenal? I think Dan will definitely back me up. Like here is you can literally in England, if you've got a pub team that plays in the Sunday League, you could be 35th qualifier out of round one and say you've played in the FA Cup in England, right? So it's something which is huge in the UK, the FA Cup. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Here, again, it gives so much exposure to the lower leagues. I watch a lower league team here in Sydney, Sydney United, because I'm marrying a Croatian girl. And that's a Croatian team, but we won't talk about the World Cup. Anyway, I know you're sniggering, you bugger, but anyway. But
that'd be his fiancée in the background having a good smirk on her face, I'd say.
No, she's just fast asleep, bless her. But it's just literally it's phenomenal because it gets all these clubs who realistically, if you look at the future of the A League promotion relegation, it gives them a bit of exposure. These are clubs that have been around in Australia for, in Sydney United's situation for 50 years. Yeah. The A League's been around for 15. They've got way more culture, way more history within the country than most A League teams. So it gives them, in that instance, a pedestal. Marconi Stallions, you got Avondale, they're quite a new NPL team, but you look at the Bentley Greens, you've got Heidelberg United, you've got teams that, and I love coming home from work on a Wednesday night, being able to pop it on the TV and watch the lower league grounds, watching them play against the A League teams. Yeah. The gap isn't that different, which is kind of sad, but
Yeah.
That's just the way the A League is. It literally, it's great. From a Jets perspective, it's a horrendous competition for us. We've never made it past the first round, but that's down to a lot of years of a lot of bad club ownership.
I don't even think we've scored a goal, to be fair.
I can't. No, actually couldn't tell you. I know we've lost against Perth every time.
We've lost against Melbourne. Yeah, I don't think we have. I don't think we've personally scored a goal in the tournament. But
yeah, I think people need to get behind it a little. What was actually really good is I watched the Sydney FC versus Rockdale, because Rockdale's not too far from me. I watched that, and Sydney brought about, I'd say, 700 or 800 travelling fans.
Mm-hmm.
They were literally penned in with bollards in one end of the ground. If you watch the replays, you'll see them behind there. It's just phenomenal. It's like watching old school football the way it should be played, and I think it's only going to grow. Yeah. They need to give, I think the entire league they need to give more exposure to be fair. But no, it's good.
Not too easy. We'll quickly jump in. Obviously a few things. Obviously, I was going to touch with you and give you a bit of a background. Obviously, everyone out there about yourself. So obviously, born in Newcastle upon Tyne. Grew up in Benton, I believe, mate.
Yeah, but it's a Newcastle upon Tyne.
Sorry, I'm not English, British, whatever you want to call it. I'm half Portuguese, not half English. Sorry. But yeah, obviously, what was obviously I've heard Newcastle itself in a town was pretty rough, mainly for you and your brother. So, what was it like? Obviously, you moved out here when you were about 15, so you got plenty of years in there before you moved out. What was it like?
Newcastle is, look, it is what it is. It's a party town, but it is quite working class. The football club literally means everything to all the people that live there. I don't think, unless you go there, you really understand that literally the ground is in the centre of the town, on a hill, surrounded by everything else. We worship, that place. So leaving and growing up there, I mean, me and my father and my brother, we would always go to the football every week, consistently. Yep. So it was just part of our routine and part of the bonding cycle, I think, that we all want, whether it is a girl or a boy that you have growing up, and if you have, children, you want to have that bond. I think that's definitely what brought us together as a family. Yeah. And having literally, St. James's Park around the corner from where I grew up, and having your heroes play every day, every week. And I'm not talking about, when my first match was against QPR in the first division before the Premier League. We won 1-0. I went there with my dad. I'll never forget. It was before St. James's Park had the big stands built. So the Milburn stand and the Leazes End were all the same size. So it was, I'll never forget that. And I'm 30 years old now, and I still remember the feeling that I got walking up there with my dad. Yeah. And I think coming out here, culture shock, to say the least. To say the least. But there's still, big fabric of football out here. Yeah. Whether it's never going to be what it's like in England. It's very much our religion in England. Yep. You've always got, no matter how bad your life can be, at one point you still got your match day, and you can. A lot of people kind of, especially in Newcastle, I know places like Burnley, Liverpool. I think any town, to be fair, has a demographic of people that are the fabric of the club, and the difference between there and here is, which is now changing specifically with our club here, but they don't care about the supporters. The supporters are the fabric of the club. They are the community that the club represents. Yeah. And I think that's definitely been lost majorly over here since probably the inception of the A League. Yeah. When you take away the ethnicity, so I mentioned Sydney United before, it's a Croatian, Australian team. So it was a community would go there to watch it. It's the same in Newcastle, it's the same in Derby. You go to Pride Park, it's the same. It's everybody loves their club.
Yeah.
And it's nobody's special. Everybody has that connection to their club.
Yeah. Look, so obviously, you've got Dan, obviously, and Ben, obviously, who've both been to England. Obviously, England, Ben's dad, obviously, being English, and Dan, obviously, over there as well. You guys have been there and obviously watched plenty of games. You guys know the understanding of it, of what it means, obviously, for the town itself. And Ben being Birmingham, Dan being Derby, it's pretty much, that's it. Everyone in that town, just they come together, Sunday, whether it be Friday, whatever, and that's it. Everyone rocks up to the game. Pretty much what it's like over in Derby, Dan.
Well, you just go back over interviews with any past managers, past players that we've signed and stuff. They all say Lampard is the most recent. He comes in, as soon as you get into Derby, you just sense the football. Derby is just a football city. There's nothing else. We're a one club city. I went into Derby, into the main shopping centre just yesterday, and I never really noticed before, just because it's just commonplace for me. But since I've been talking with you guys over the last few months, it's like, shit, how many Derby shirts are there? Like, there was so many Derby shirts. You get the odd Man United shirt, Liverpool shirt, Chelsea shirt, the true supporters. You can't see my air quotes, but they're there.
I can hear it.
You can hear it. But yeah, it is. It's just football. But I've always said it's different over here. We're really blasé about it. I'm sure you think the same, Dave. It's such an integral part of your life. You grow up with it. It's just there. There's always football. Football's there. Football's there. Football's there. Football's there. And then you have 6 weeks where there's no football every 2 years because you've got the Euros and the World Cup, so that takes up the time. So, and every 2 years is the most boring time for any football fan over here because there is nothing going on.
Yeah.
That's when I think that's when people get pregnant.
That's why I've got kids.
Must have been when Ben was born. Oh no, you were born over here, so that's not going to help you, Ben. But sorry.
But Dan's right. And look, me and Dan will talk, and Dan's still over in the UK, and I moved out here when I was just before I was 16. I'm sorry I didn't lose my accent, but anyway, kind of hard to luse.
Makes you unique, mate.
Yeah, not back home, mate. but once you get removed from that, that was the main thing that I certainly realised was, they've got AFL, there's rugby league, there's cricket, and then there is football, but it's not the same. I mean, obviously, it's never going to be comparable. But I mean, Dan, I don't know if you've been over to Australia, but if you go to these little clubs, like as I mentioned, Sydney United, that's like my lower league club. It's still within the heart of the community, very much similar. It's very similar to Europe. It's very similar to England. It's all, they all go down there on the Saturday or the Sunday. They do they watch the match, they drink and stuff, and it's nice. The A League is more of a franchise-based thing, which is a little bit sad, and that's my opinion on that. But at least it's football.
Yeah, but then at the same time, the problem you got down there in Australia is how many UKs can you fit into Australia?
Oh yeah,
because we're really close. Like, you've got all the travelling to do, so that I think that's when you lose. Russia's the same to an extent. It's a massive country. They've got the teams your well-known ones, your CSK Moscow's, but because they're all so spread out, it doesn't become appealing for
I'll give
fans.
you a laugh though. I'll give you a laugh though. And this is like true financial fact. Is I can fly to Melbourne to watch Newcastle Jets versus Melbourne City or Melbourne Victory. So Melbourne City, we did it a couple of years ago away. So it's a 2-hour flight, almost an hour and a half, give or take, from Sydney, right? Yeah. So it's like going from Birmingham to like Malaga, right? And it's cheaper for me to fly than it would be for you to get from Derby to Leeds on a train.
Really?
So I got my flights for, what was it, $52 return?
Oh wow, that is cheap.
Yeah,
I've already done the exchange rates in the past, so I already know that what that roughly is UK wise.
It's literally like 30 quid for a flight return. So you can travel if you want to travel. I've travelled around the country.
You can travel if you want to.
Yeah, that's it, man. But I've travelled, and I know Josh has, and I mean, I met Ben at that match at City, and that was a naughty night. But
Yeah.
that was naughty. But we went down there, and it was like $52 return flight. Yeah. And you look at Newcastle to Southampton, just to get a coach from the club, it's 80 quid. So it's $160. So if 4,000 supporters can do it, if you've got the community and they've got the fabric, you can do it. Yeah. But people don't want to do it. I mean, it's a phenomenal weekend away, and plenty of people do it, but we might take 150 supporters because it's just not even that. Maybe 70, maybe 30, maybe 15, you know?
Yep. No, I definitely agree with that. Obviously, we done Brisbane away, Ben and I, with your brother in that last season, and you know, like it was good. Like, so pretty much then what we do is we pretty much there's like a, you know, we call it the tour of duty over here. So it's pretty much, you know, we do it at the start of the year. They pick a friggin' round and they try and get as many people to it as we possibly can. Brisbane got it last season, and what do you reckon, Ben? There was probably 300. You reckon?
Yeah, roughly 300.
Roughly 300, but out of that 300, I dare say probably 100 of them live in Brisbane. Maybe even more than that. You know, so 300 travelling away. 300 travelling away for, as Dave said, obviously because I've got no idea what your train fares are like over there, but you know, for how cheap it is, for how
fucking train fares,
for how cheap it is, you know, for how cheap it is, and we're only getting 300 fans, and for a game from Derby, we'll go Derby and Leeds because that's what you were saying. You would travel in your well and truly bigger numbers than I reckon a couple of hundred.
Well,
you just look at pre-season. Pre-season, the first friendly game of the season, we took 4,000 fans to Notts County.
Yeah, right. There you go. Well, I have no idea how far that is from Derby, but
literally, like you could throw a stone from Derby to Nottingham, but
there's 4,000.
Well, still, we wouldn't.
It's that cheap. Yeah. I mean, it's that cheap. I did 3 games last year, including the.
Yeah.
All in the space of about 3 months.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's literally. I mean, we're probably getting a little bit off topic, but it's literally, if you put it financially, it's a lot cheaper to support football out here. So you'd think people on board would jump on it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So obviously, we've gone a little bit off topic. I still can't believe you moved from Newcastle, over there in the UK to Newcastle here. It spins me out. Your dad's just like, sounds good.
My dad just couldn't let go.
I'll never forget the time we went over to Loudy's place, and I can't remember. We were I think we come back from a party or something like that, and it got like the movie Goal. I don't know, Dan, I'm sure you've heard of it. The Goal, where it's obviously based on Newcastle, and we were talking and shit like. And I was talking to James at the time, Dave's brother, and I said, I said to their dad, I said, have you seen Goal? And he literally he just lost it. He's like, what? What? I'm like, the movie Goal, and he goes, I heard ya. Like, we don't talk about it. I'm not watching it. It'll jinx the club. I reckon it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever friggin' heard of. And you'd walk into the downstairs area at their place, and this fucking massive wall, friggin' shirts and framed and stuff like that. And just the fact that no.
Gotta love me dad.
He's a good bloke. Your dad's a friggin' champion. He was in fine for me brother's wedding. It was fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be like talking to Dan about the damned United.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched that for pretty much same reasons.
Yeah, and that's it. That's it. Just the passion, and there's no way. There's no way you'll watch it. Not a chance in hell.
But before we move on and segue on, because to peek behind the curtain, I had daddy duties to attend to. That's why I was quiet for a lot of this. I actually don't mind Newcastle, Dave. I really quite like Newcastle as a team. And there's one very, very prominent reason why I don't mind Newcastle as a team. Because Newcastle was the only team not to beat Derby in the Premiership in that season where we weren't in the Premiership.
Because you beat us 1-0 at home as well. When you wasn't that from like
the only team we beat? Yeah, the only team we beat.
6 points. And you took 6 points from us.
No, we drew 2-2 at St James's Park. I got on TV though, so it's all good.
Well, can I tell my story about Ravanelli missing the penalty?
Yes, yeah, go on.
So remember,
because I hate Ravanelli.
Well, I was at St James's Park in Level 7, right next to the away supporters. It was the year you went down again. It was the game, I believe it was the game you got relegated. I think I was 13 at the time. And you got a penalty. It was 0-0, and Ravanelli needed to score.
And of course, we put Ravanelli on the bloody thing, yeah.
So I at the time was, 13 years old. Me and my brother are sitting there, and I was like, I just watched the away supporters next to me. Just because I couldn't watch. And Shea Given was in. And everybody around me went mad. And all these Derby supporters just started filing out. And I was just sitting there going. And I don't mind Derby. Derby can sing. That's why I like Derby. They can sing.
No, we've got a good fan base, for definite.
Proper fans. Not like these Liverpools, Josh, and United.
Josh is a hard one because he goes and watches all his Liverpool stuff over in Australia, but then comes on to like social media and says, I'm a big Derby fan.
I like Derby. I've got plenty. I've got a couple of shirts of Derby. I've got a couple of shirts of Derby, and Ben actually got me one of those shirts.
No, I got you your last Derby shirt.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, I've always had a soft spot for Derby. But yeah, look, obviously, it's going to be be good. Obviously, I wouldn't mind getting Dave on again and talking obviously a bit of Premier League and stuff like that when the season does kick off a bit, because I think the banter and the last we'll be able to have obviously between you pair will be very, very interesting.
What's a Premier League?
Yeah. What's a Premier?
Oh, it's some league where people think that's the only place elite teams can be in. But to put it in perspective, there's teams like Burnley and Brighton in it. So make your own decision from that.
Huddersfield are in there too.
Huddersfield, exactly.
Yeah. Well, we might be playing you lot next year. So
look, yeah.
Wow, we'll probably miss each other for that.
No, we'll definitely still be there.
One last minute winner and Derby's winning the league. Listen to this.
Yeah,
it's the Frank Lampard effect.
The Frank Lampard effect. Yeah, look,
because you couldn't do. If you did it for England, I wouldn't care. But anyway.
Well, actually, speaking of that, we've obviously we're ticking over to an hour. Obviously, we don't like to we'll wrap it up shortly, but. As Dave was saying, Dan, I think he said it before you got here. He actually listened to you sort of admit that you were happy with England's result and so forth in the World Cup. Dave, what was your thoughts on the result? Happy? Happy? Obviously, you didn't make it, but do you think Southgate is still the man for the job?
He's more than capable of doing the job. I just think there was a lot of players went missing majorly against Croatia. Sterling's always missing. Look, he's like a wet fish. Harry Kane went missing in the big moment. Those are the things that
Harry Kane went missing in the knockouts.
Well, exactly. And look, to me, I heard what you said in the previous podcast about it. It came when we got everyone together, and it's grand. Everyone was having a good time in that. But you've got to look at this is my perspective, and I could be completely wrong. That's the only time in our lifetimes that we will have such a good chance of winning the World Cup. Fact.
Oh yeah, I agree entirely. Entirely.
What you reckon?
I even said that to my wife when I stormed out after the Croatia game. I was the person that of pretty much the whole town where full-time whistle went. I left that pub, got in the saltiest of moods I've ever been in, stormed back home, took my England shirt off, threw it at the washing machine, and sat outside with a bottle of Budweiser and a packet of fags.
Yeah. I just don't. I don't think we'll do that again. I just don't see it happening. I don't think that we'll have that opportunity again. I don't think the likes of Argentina, Brazil, Germany will ever feel again like they did. I think Croatia, to be fair, didn't deserve to be in the final. I'm saying that on record. I don't think. I don't think they're a good. I don't think they're a good football team. I think they're rubbish. I sound a bit like Craig Bellamy right now. I don't even know how they scored 2 goals against us. I was literally like Craig Bellamy after they got done after the Wales match. If you've ever seen his interview, go watch it. I was just like, they're not even good. You know, they're all rubbish.
Yeah.
And I can't understand what Kane was doing. I don't understand what any of the lads were doing in that match. It just didn't make any sense. 1-0 up, cracking goal. Just
nerves. As much as it shouldn't be an excuse, it was nerves. You saw them start buckling. Excuse me. They were passing the ball around lovely. They were almost taking the piss.
Yeah.
And it was great, but then I think a couple of mistakes and the nerves just got shot. It's all it comes down to. You've got to remember they're only young lads, weren't they? Really? So.
Yeah. But young lads playing first team football, I won't use it as an excuse. They're getting paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a week, some of them. More than we'll ever see in a year, most of us, right? So at the end of the day, they're meant to be at the elite level representing England. I won't say, and this is my opinion, I won't say, oh no, they did really well. They got the semi-final. They're young. They're buckled. Well, that's then when Southgate has to go to his experience. He should have had the amount of depth and experience within that squad. You can't go to a World Cup and expect to win it, like he said, and which he almost did. But you can't go there and say and do those things without having that sort of experience.
I personally can't believe you. I can't believe he's a bagging out Sterling so much.
I'm still happy. I'm still happy with how they did, because we were literally just like, I'll be surprised if we get out of the group. And
100%. I'm being spoiled when I'm saying, look, I'm disappointed. It's just when you're getting to that sort of fever pitch, and you're literally going, it's literally. I mean, it's not just only France. We can beat France. That's a fact. We would have done a lot better in the final than Croatia did any day.
Yeah, I can't believe he's a bag.
But then you also, if you listen to the podcast, you also would have heard all the predictions, and I said it was France's straight from the start.
100%. They're a quality team.
Yeah,
quality squad. Again, quality squad. They've got the mix of youth and experience. So I'm going to say it, but I can't believe he didn't go without John Joe Shelby.
Yeah.
That's because we like to try and keep 11 players on the pitch.
I would prefer having him literally scaring the hell out of Luka Modric than Henderson.
There's that, to be fair.
Yeah, fair call.
And if you watch Newcastle's nothing without Shelby, because he does try the extravagant every ball, but he pulls it out of the bag, and he's a defensive wall, and he's limber, and it's just Henderson got in because he's Liverpool. Fact.
Yeah, but again, we won't go into too much detail with it because we're just taking up Josh's what's it with it. But it all comes down to the FA. And we've got to promote the big teams. We've got to promote the Premier League. We've got to do this with this team. You don't. And Southgate sort of said yes, but then he also brought in your Trippiers, who, before you wouldn't have ever thought he'd get a call up for an England squad.
Yeah,
he's a great. Well, we've seen he's a great fullback, wingback.
There's a couple of good.
He would have never been picked because he played for Burnley, and that would have been simply the reason why he never got picked.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple of good players, obviously, though, you guys had through that tournament, that were coming through. So,
Well, I think, Josh, we won't get too much into it, because I think me and Dan are literally talking like we're down the pub.
Mate.
But,
yeah. That's it, yeah. Look, as I said,
English banner, but you were mentioning Sterling. Josh, just to not to defend it.
No.
Go,
Before
go,
I can say it.
go and watch. Go and watch.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. But I was thinking they're going to take the piss and just go. I can't believe he's bagging out Sterling so much, considering that poor bloke's got to fucking try and look after 6 kids. Can you imagine how much time and effort that has to take out of his training and shit like that? I'm sure they were at the friggin' World Cup. I'm sure he would have been able to have to scan the fucking stadium for them. Like, he's a fucking. How many kids has he got?
Here was the problem. Here was the problem. Bottom line of the problem with why people got onto Sterling's back was because he didn't play for England like he does for Man City. And that's what he gets picked for. If he'd have played like he plays for Man City,
nailed it.
He'd have had an absolutely amazing tournament. And to lose would have been a disappointment.
And what you've got to do, Josh, what you've got to do, and I think a lot of English people do this, right, is we don't look at the personal life. We look at what is professionally being displayed on the pitch. So when he's playing for City, he still has 6 kids. When he's playing for City, he still has their responsibility.
I was just taking the piss. But yeah, you are correct. I mean, you are strongly correct. Yeah, you are strongly correct. Yeah, he just didn't show up to the World Cup,
and he's also on 100 weekend.
Yeah, well, I'm sure plenty of people wish they were on. So look, as I said, I've just got a couple of quick questions for you. As I said, we can sit here and talk all night about. Well, you guys can anyway. So just a couple of quick questions. Obviously, back to it. Your prediction: Jets finish for the end of the season. What are your thoughts?
7th.
7th. Oh, not even going to make finals. Ouch.
Nah.
Wow. Fair enough.
Do you want to know why? Or?
Yeah. Come on, mate. Yeah, well, by all means. Laurie wants to know.
Well, I don't at the moment feel like we've taken any strides forwards in terms of recruitment.
Yeah.
I think if you're still washing the same stone the next year, you're going to get the same results in terms of you're not growing. You're just washing the same stone. Mm-hmm. So I think at the same time, what needs to happen, there needs to be that recruitment. If there is that recruitment, then obviously my perception will change. I don't feel like we are progressive. I think we've lost, obviously, Naboot. We've lost Duncan now, so there's 2 holes. I don't think you can replace Naboot with someone in this country or with someone that's still in the squad. So there needs to be investment there. Mm-hmm. My main concern is there's going to be a lack of investment. We need to put Newcastle Jets as a marquee perspective on the map.
Yep.
Otherwise, last year will be a strange and amazing blip in our short history.
Uh-huh.
I don't feel like we'll grow at this point. So again, I spoke with Laurie face to face at Western Sydney away when we were bottom of the league, and he said, "I'm going to prove you wrong." And I called us bollocks, and he definitely proved me wrong, which I'm so happy about.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'll say to Mr. McKenna, as a stout Englishman, prove me wrong again.
Yeah. Yeah, and look, as I said, hopefully he does, personally. Okay, another quick one. Obviously, the Toon, mate, where are they going to finish in? Are they going to go straight back down? Or straight back? Are they going to drop, or are they going to stay up?
We're a viable club. I don't hate Mike Ashley. I really don't. No, I really think everybody thinks that Geordies do, but if you look at the situation, he put £320 million into the club to clear all of our debts when he took it from Freddie Shepherd. So we owe him a lot in that respect. If you spend big, go down, you just do a Leeds and we'll never see you again. A lot of clubs do it. So if you can run us like a business and just keep us in the league, it means we can watch football from this country every week on TV. I'm happy with that. We're never going to win the league. Man City spent 700 million before they even won a Premier League. It's never going to happen. So I think most of Newcastle supporters need to take a chill pill and just enjoy the fact that we finished 10th. Probably go close to going down.
Okay. And yeah, that's probably well said, to be fair. As you said, some of you, not just Newcastle fans, obviously, most Premier League sides, and that's it. They're so strung up on got to win the Premier League. Well, anyone can do it. Chuck a Leicester, you know what I mean? to win the Prem. Like, just enjoy it. Be grateful of what you've got. As you guys have clearly said, you're spoilt over there. And
I'll guarantee you 99% of Newcastle United supporters on Facebook or on any social media will have a crack at Mike Ashley. He doesn't care. It's his club.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, he's run at a profit since the day he put his own 320 million in.
Correct.
It's his own money. It's his club. We are the fabric as a club. He's not had us go below Championship. When we went down, he invested 70 million to get us back up for zero return because you don't get anything close to the Premier League rights.
Yep.
So he lost money there. So I think all in all, after something like almost 10, I think it's 10 years he's owned us, 11 years. Yep. Correct me if I'm wrong, but anyway, we're financially up about 50 million. And he's already got 6 signings already. So, and they're not amazing signings. They still spent his own money. People go get a $40 million striker or £40 million striker. Well, that's just daft. It's not viable with him. It's not viable with most clubs. If you do that and you take those loans out, you end up like Leeds.
Yeah. No, fair enough, mate. Well said. Well said. I will obviously just state as well, as of next week, I run out a bit of time. As of next week, I'm going to be doing a weekly little flick over to Dan to give us a rundown, obviously, of the championship, because as the boys have somewhat said tonight, it doesn't get a great deal of publicity over here in Australia, and personally, it's a good league to watch.
It's on TV. It's on TV tonight. It's on. I'm staying up to watch Leeds versus. Stoke.
It's all that's it. Might get 1 or 2 games of it on the telly and that. But personally, great league, great league to watch. I love watching the championship. Everyone's just frigging.
The hardest league in England. To escape.
100%,
without a doubt.
100%. So I'll be crossing the Dan each week and just
who went down and came up.
Who went down? Well, do I actually want the answer?
Yeah, go on.
Well, go on.
Okay. So down we had West Brom, Swansea, and
no. I mean, I'm talking about. I was like, we went down and we came up.
He's talking about Newcastle itself.
Oh, okay.
Taking the piss. I was like, it's not that hard.
Like Derby and Birmingham, went down, but they.
Well, you say that. I'm sorry. I do apologise to bring up your. Like I say, I do apologise to bring up your rivals, but Sunderland were a yo-yo team. Couldn't cut it in the Premiership. Too easy in Championship.
How good is it down there?
Down. Hey. Worse, more than a fucking prostitute's knickers.
Yeah, we were the same. We were a yo-yo team in the mid 2000s.
Yep. No, that's it, and that's it. Yeah, I stand what I said. It's a great league to watch, and
it is one of the. I think going to like Pride Park, you go to St Andrews, you go to Burton Albion. We're down in Championship at one stage. I think I watched the Derby match and that young lad. I think I was talking to lads before, Dan. And those lads, that lad jumped on the pitch to celebrate with the players after the second goal. Yeah. If that was Premier League, you get like $5,000 fine, you get a lifetime ban, but it's Championship, it's proper football.
The security probably just helped him back over the fence.
Yeah, just let him back. No, they'll just let him back.
Yeah. He'll probably end up with like a 3-game ban where he can't go to 3 games or 5 games or whatever, and then that'll be it. It'll be forgotten about. Because passion, the Championship has the passion that the Premiership somewhat lacks.
100%.
Yep. Yeah. Too easy, guys. Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you, Dave. Hopefully we get you back on, mate. If you're keen.
Oh, look, I'm just a gas bag. I talk for England, mate. So.
Yeah. Look, as I said, we'll get you back, mate, and obviously get a few. Obviously talk a bit Premier League and a bit of Championship more in depth. But look, as I said, guys, thanks for tuning in and listening to the guys rant on. Some may say rant on. Some guys might enjoy it. Again, Laurie, if you're listening, mate, please prove David wrong. 7th is a bit steep. At least 6, for God's sake. I'll make at least 1 week of the finals.
Laurie knows. I'm a pessimist. I'm a Geordie, so.
Yep. That's it. Again, Dan, thanks for being here, mate.
Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate. And as I said, we'll do a weekly snippet back to Dan, and obviously he'll give us the take on his thoughts. Obviously, we'll say 5 games or so of the round and so forth. And
just bear in mind, though, everyone, that if Derby have lost, I will probably be in a salty mood.
That's all right. It's all right. We'll take it. We'll be happy with that. You in a salty mood's fantastic. It's a bit of a laugh.
Do you know how you fix it, though? Do you know how you fix it?
How's that?
You just put 50 quid on Wayne Brown to score for Sutton.
Yes.
Plugs for Wayne Brown. Love it.
Hashtag Wayne Brown for life.
Yeah, that's it.
United.
And I'll put it down the bottom. Sorry, being a bit quiet. Sorry, being a bit quiet there, Ben. Trying to get a word in between these two.
No, that's all right.
It's been a bit hard, but yeah, no, again, mate, thanks for your time as always every week.
Yeah, not a problem, mate. Thank you very much once again.
No, too easy, guys. So yeah, as I said, we'll wrap it up, and thanks everyone for obviously listening to the podcast. Give it a like, and please subscribe to the channel, as I'll be uploading a few more of these obviously through the season, and hopefully getting a few interviews with some of the Jets players / backroom staff. And yeah, again, till next time, guys, thanks for listening, and we hate Coast Scum. Cheers, guys.